Raising your vibration isn't always sunshine, daisies, roses, peaches, and cream. There are some negative side effects of it, some of which some people probably don't talk about. In this video, I'm going to share with you what those are, how you can bypass them so you don't experience the negative effects of raising your vibration. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you why raising your vibration has these negative side effects and what you can do about it. Now the first thing you might be wondering is, what is raising my vibration anyways? Well, let me share that with you. Raising your vibration is about increasing your frequency. And what that means is we first off become aware that there's something that is called the scale of consciousness. This is from the book called Power versus Force. And what it is there's different emotions that resonate at a certain rate. Now, everything in what quantum physics shows us is that everything is vibration. And now the thing is as we raise our vibration, we feel better. We then are able to create what we want easier than ever due to having more potency of our thoughts. And the key to raising our vibration normally involves letting go of the lower vibe. So we got shame, fear, guilt, anger, neutrality, willingness, reasoning. Then we have love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. The more we raise our vibration, the easier, the more synchronicities are in our life, and the better we feel. Now, the first negative side effect of us going through this process has to do with building what is called a spiritual ego. Now what happens is as you become more aware of these things, like for example, back in 2012 when I went through my awakening, all of a sudden I started feeling completely different about myself. I stopped doing things that were keeping me in low vibe. For example, that of alcohol resonates at the level of courage, right at the level of courage, which is right at about 275. And what happens is if we are higher than that naturally and we drink, it actually brings our vibration down, even though it gives us a temporary enjoyment of that thing. Same thing for weed. Something like marijuana, that resonates at 350, which is also the level of acceptance, which is funny because when people smoke, normally they just accept the moment, and that's and for some people, if they're feeling negative emotion, that may raise their vibration temporarily. But I'll tell you what, everyone watching this video, your natural vibration is much higher than that of alcohol or weed. Now you might be asking, how do we find out these different vibrations, or what things calibrate at? Well, in the book Power versus Force, what it talks about is what we use is something called muscle testing, which is connected to the subconscious mind, which allows us to then calibrate these different things to see the rate of vibration. Now, when I raised my vibration initially in 2012, what happened is as that happened, I started to feel completely different about myself. I learned how to meditate. I started, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, feeling like a 3 out of 10. Normally, I felt probably at about a 7 or 8 after I learned meditation. It changed my whole entire life. And then what happened is I go through the spiritual awakening and I start sharing these ideas with people. I start sharing this with people, and some people didn't understand. They thought it was weird. You know, I was this guy that was drinking a lot and having a lot of going to parties and stuff like that. All of a sudden I'm talking about meditation. It's like, what happened? The things I used to be interested in changed very quickly. And because of that, it caused me to then hanging out with friends and stuff like that and feeling kind of like an oddball because I wasn't as understood. Then what happened is I started to develop what is called a spiritual ego. A spiritual ego is when you start to, in a way, see yourself as somebody that's higher up on the scale, and you start to compare yourself to other people, and you're like, well, this person doesn't understand me, so because they don't understand me, they're at a lower vibe than I do. That's why they don't get it. They don't get me because they're not awake. You ever heard someone go through a spiritual awakening? That happens sometimes. It's like they just don't understand because they're not awake. They're not at the same level. Well, what happens is the old ego goes out the back door, or goes out, and then a spiritual ego comes in through the back door. And this happens quite often when people raise their vibration. They then develop a spiritual ego where then they look and feel and appear to be better than other people. And it's a natural process that a lot of people go through. But the key is to be aware of it. It is a negative side effect because it's insidious. You may not be aware that there's this part of you that comes through the back door that then is is identifying and seeing other people as less than. But let me share with you the solution to this. See everyone else as perfect and at the perfect place for themselves. Don't view them as above you or below you. Everyone just is where they need to be. And having that perspective and knowing that when you're around people that are doing that are lower vibe, realize that there may be a lesson there for you. There may be something you can learn from that. Maybe if it's even your own boundaries. But by switching that frame about it, it makes it so much easier to connect with people. I found that after a period of time, it was harder for me to connect to people because I kept telling myself a story. There's no people that understand me. There's no people that are awake. There's no people into the same things. And that affirmation created that experience over and over and over again. But then what I did is I realized it. I became aware that I had that belief and that I was getting it reflected back in life over and over again. So then what I did is I changed it. And once I changed it, I had people that were in the same mindset, into the same type of metaphysical information come into my life. And also, you'll notice that people in the comment sections below, they're people that vibe with you. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel as well. I share information that helps you to raise your vibration, helps you to also feel more empowered, really take your power back and show up in the world in a powerful way. So, people here, we're all in a similar vibe, otherwise we wouldn't be watching this video. So that's the first negative side effect of raising our vibration that a lot of people probably won't tell you, but also we should know about. The second negative side effect of raising your vibration has to do with something that happened to me when I quit. This happened actually when I quit smoking weed back in 2012. And I stopped drinking. I stopped doing a couple different things. But one thing that happened for about 3 or 4 months actually, because I was smoking weed for probably about a year, almost every day. And the reason was I was like, I take Adderall during the day, which I was prescribed for having ADHD. So I'd go to work selling women's shoes, and it would be really pumped up, ready to work. I'd do really well. And then I'd go home at night, and the side effects were you don't eat very much, you don't sleep very much. So then I'd go home and I would smoke. And I did that for like a year and a half. And then when I quit, when I learned meditation was when everything really began to change. Now, I went a whole year with smoking, and what happened is there was a certain amount of buildup in my body of doing that every single day. And what happened is when I decided to quit, there was this energy inside of my body that then I began to literally purge out for months afterwards, after I made the decision to quit. And it was this, it's gonna sound kind of nasty, but it was like this yellow mucus stuff that I would cough up, that I would cough up, that I was clearing out of my body. And I intuitively knew at that time, I was like, what is this? But I knew that it was this deep-rooted stuff. And it was like ready to come out. And as it did, I felt lighter and lighter. And it took a couple months for it, of every couple days doing that, for it to really come out. But when you raise your vibration, there's certain things that you end up purging out of yourself. Another example with this would be, as you raise your vibration, you may find that you start to gravitate away from certain types of foods. Maybe you gravitate away from like eating deep fried fast food, stuff like that. And if you were to go back to it, you'd have a very negative side effect because it would shock your body. I know that happened to me. I started eating really healthy, and then I rebelled against it one day. This is a long time ago, but then I went to McDonald's, got a whole bunch of unhealthy food, and then I ate a whole bunch of it at once. My body just completely was like, what are you doing, bro? Just completely had to, get rid of that too. But the purge of these, it's almost like you're purging lower vibrational thought forms in a way as well. Thoughts. Everything is energy. And when you purge out past things, I realized the reason I was smoking back in the day was because I was kind of numbing certain emotions, certain things from my past that were unprocessed. When I then let that go, I became aware of it, I processed it, I meditated and observed it, that changed everything. And then I spent those months purging out that yellow mucusy stuff, which sounds disgusting, but it's true. It's something that I went through, and it's something that I think happens as you raise your vibration. You purge, maybe metaphorically, maybe it's not as physical as that, but in the sense as well, you may find yourself gravitating towards new types of food. You may find that you try going back to it sometimes too, to the other food, and then you just can't, because it just doesn't resonate with your body as so much anymore. So sometimes people may consider that a negative side effect. Of course, purging isn't always the most pleasant thing, but it is something that you feel light afterwards, you feel amazing, you feel free, and then you're cleaned out and you feel better. So the second one has to do with purging. Now the third negative side effect of raising your vibration is that you will then most likely be activating other people in your life. What I mean by activating is in a way triggering them to go through their spiritual process. Maybe not in the moment and in the way you think it should happen so quickly. Like when I was talking earlier about when I went through my awakening, then other people didn't really understand it. I wanted them to I was so excited about learning meditation and learning about the spiritual side of me. I wanted everyone else to understand it. The thing is not everyone was ready to understand it. Now what happened though is it planted a seed for so many people, because now it's been years later and I have friends, people that I never thought would necessarily wake up this fast are starting to wake up and be open to this type of information about understanding spiritual awakening, understanding raising our vibration, understanding things like meditation and why that can be so powerful. Now, the thing is when you initially go through it, you will be activating people, which can cause a little bit of polarity. So people may see you and then you will represent to them that they aren't going through what you're going through, so it kind of brings up negative emotion within them. Also, when you have a higher vibration around other people, it may bring things up, because in a way it's like then in order for them to resonate with you, they need to clear some things in a way as well. And it's always a one-on-one reflection as well, because we all bring things up within each other. But in general, you'll find that you may trigger people and you may activate people in a way that doesn't feel so pleasant, because then they're thinking about you in a different way and you feel like it brings up more stuff than it used to. If you were to just be quiet, if you were to just decide to watch television, to watch Jersey Shore and not complain or talk about meditation and all this woo-woo nonsense, it would be very comfortable for them. But here's the thing. You don't care about Jersey Shore no more, okay? You don't care about watching some of those types of shows, and because of that, your energy's changed. Now the thing is you're gonna activate those people. And when you activate them, you are then actually doing them a great service. But the initial on vibration of that trigger and that activation within them may seem kind of unpleasant and not so enjoyable. So if you're wondering as well where you are in this scale of consciousness, I have a free quiz that you can take. It's a little survey. It takes about a minute or two to complete. It's on whatsmyvibration.com, or you can click it in the top of the description box below. Calibrate your vibration, plus get a personalized meditation for getting to the next level of consciousness that will help you to more easily move through this process. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, peace, much love, and namaste.